Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're back to some EPL action. Big games coming up on the weekend. Man City takes on Newcastle. And of course, league leaders, Arsenal, they play in the North London Derby versus Tottenham. Now, joining me this evening to talk some EPL football and to start these games, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christoph, yes, indeed, the talk of the town is Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal. Looking back, Arsenal was in action midweek, Christoph, and they threw away a two-goal lead versus basement team Leeds, bottom of the league. Sorry, not Leeds, Wolves. Bottom of the league team Wolves. What can we say about that game? Is Arsenal now battling the title as is being reported all over the world?
I think Arsenal make for good headlines because truly, Liverpool have already battled the title, so I don't know how Arsenal is battling the title when it was Liverpool who already battled. It was a horrendous display, and in my opinion, or what I would, it's the type of result that if I was the owner of the club, I would be having a sit down with the manager and asking what is happening
Hmm,
to me.
okay.
Um, from that game, they didn't play great, but you were two up, and then you proceeded to concede two relatively late goals. It's not a very good look for the team that has the best defensive record in the league for the last 3, 4 years running. So not a very good look. There seem to me at least, I have noticed it from maybe around October, November. Every time Arsenal subs Victor Gyökeres, they concede goals. Now, if I notice that from October, November, Arteta and his team, who get a lot of money, must have noticed it by now.
But what's the rationale for that, though? I mean, Gyökeres is a striker.
I,
What correlation does him being substituted have with
I,
Arsenal
I, I
conceding?
I think because Victor Gyökeres tends to stay high and he will occupy multiple players, opposition teams have to keep players back in order to contain him, so to speak. Versus you bring on, so far they've been bringing on Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus does not stay high. He drops off very deep into midfield, left wing, wherever, and then player teams get brave. As a result, they push more players
Yeah,
forward,
but
add
that
more
could
players to
be
the attack.
it. But that could be it rather than the substitution of Gyökeres,
Uh,
Christoph. It could be
Every
that later
every
on in the game, teams have
no,
to
no,
take
no.
more risks.
They do have to take more risks, but all these risks come after Victor Gyökeres have gotten sub. None of these goals score while Victor Gyökeres is on the pitch. Every single goal that Arsenal have conceded late in games from October till now has been after Victor Gyökeres has gotten sub.
Oh,
I
well, that's an
I noticed that
interesting
and brought it up earlier
correlation
this
there.
season. I said it to you. Now correlation is not always causation, but if I was Mikel Arteta, I was the backroom staff, there would be some investigation to find out what
What's
is
going
happening
on?
here, how can we fix it?
So, on the back of these results, though, Christoph, I mean, we're not going to dwell on it much longer. I mean, obviously, you're a bit upset by the result, to say the least. But what's the prediction going forward? Is the title still Arsenal's to lose, or ultimately will they succumb to Man City yet again? Will it be another second place finish?
um, at the moment, I would say undecided. It's definitely still Arsenal's to lose. You're still ahead. Even if they lose on the weekend, they're still 2 points ahead, right? Even if they lose on the weekend, still 2 points ahead. But
Well,
it's
I mean,
it's
with
precarious
having played a
coming
game,
having played a game in hand. You're still 2 points
a
clear,
game
even if you
more,
lose.
yeah.
But like I said, it's a very precarious position you have put yourself in now. Coming from 6 points,
Oh,
then it
but I
went down to
mean,
five. Now it's down to two.
right. Well, No, it's not down to two yet.
No, no. Count it as two. Count it as two at the moment. At the moment, count it as two because
It's you
obviously they've
you
played.
can't count it as two, and it's
I
not
co
two yet.
I've counted. I count it as two
Oh,
because
so
they have played an
you're
additional
giving
game.
Man City an automatic win, you're saying, over Newcastle come
Oh,
weekend.
definitely. Newcastle play Champions League.
Well,
Newcastle play Champions League. This is a win for Man City. Newcastle play
well,
Champions
yeah, for
League.
sure. We've definitely seen the trend where Newcastle's participation in the Champions League, followed by an away game, as is the case here. Oftentimes it results in a
No,
defeat or a draw.
it's not just away games. Every game I'm following a Champions League match for them has resulted in them dropping points, and they're going
Mm.
to play Man
No, well,
City.
I mean,
So
dropping
I
points
expect
doesn't
them.
mean you necessarily
No,
lose.
no, no, no. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean you lose, but they're dropping 3 points here.
So you're from the jump, you're
This is
writing
a
Newcastle off.
yeah, and this is a Man City win.
So we are in technically then, Christoph, we're at the business end of the season now.
We are at
This
the
is this is where games count, games and points count. Get the
where
3 points at all costs.
Man City has 12 games remaining. Arsenal has 11 games remaining. This is the end of the season. All right, this now is where the title is won.
Okay, so this is what we now call the title race.
Right, this is it now. This is the end.
I see. So technically going into the title race, quote and unquote, Arsenal with a slight advantage. You could say a one game advantage per se in terms of the points. 2 points ahead. So technically, destiny is still in their own hands. All they have to do is to win their remaining fixtures, pending Man City do the same. I mean, it could boil down to less for the Gunners if Man City were to drop points. So to me, I'm not necessarily counting this win as academic. We've seen over the period where Arsenal have dropped points, Man City have failed to capitalize. But you're saying this is a no-brainer. This is a clear 3 points for Man
Yeah,
City
this is
versus potentially a tired Newcastle team after
this
bagging up
this is a
Quarabag in the Champions League.
this is a easy 3 points at Man City right now. Easy 3 points.
Mm.
This might be Man City's easiest game for the entire season.
Versus Newcastle.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
New,
Wow.
Newcastle has failed to win a single game so
Yeah, but
far this season after playing in the Champions
the
League.
ball is round. I wouldn't be so quick to write off Newcastle. Yes, I can understand the history, but
Not a single game have they gone on to win after playing midweek champion. Despite
Mm,
playing excellently in these Champions League games,
right,
they have
right,
not
right.
gone on to win a single game on the weekend that takes
But
place after playing
all right.
Champions League.
So again, back to the original argument. If we as analysts on the outside looking in can see these things,
Mhm.
wouldn't the big pain managers Eddie Howe and his backroom staff also recognize this pattern?
That obviously they would have recognized the pattern, but clearly they have not come up with some way to stem.
I see,
I
I
don't
see.
don't know what they're again. I think it's a lack of squad depth, right?
Right, right.
Right. I think because the same 11 that he plays in the Champions League is probably going to be the same 11 that he's playing on
Are
the
close
weekend,
to the same.
or
But I
very
mean,
close.
a lot of the big name players, however, though, Christoph, they did get a decent rest. The likes of God, he was substituted early after bagging four. And a few other players got some rest also. But of course, it's a long flight back from, I believe, Azerbaijan. I believe that's where Qarabag plays their football. I might have to do a little research on that. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I'm thinking it's a long flight back. So these players may still be tired, but uh I mean, naturally, Man City should be entering this game the favorites and should come out victors, but I would not write off Newcastle right
Not,
off the bag.
Newcastle right off.
All right. So what's the call for you in terms of a predicted scoreline?
Probably 3-0 Man City.
3
3
nil
nil
Man
Man City.
City. I'm also hearing Erling Haaland, Christoph, might be nursing a knee injury as well.
Irrelevant. Erling Haaland has been out of form for a couple of months now, so I don't.
Mm.
I think this is probably more positive for them than negative at the moment.
You're talking about the leading scorer in the league
No. I'm not denying Erling Haaland's ability. I'm simply saying he has been out of form for a couple of months now. So,
and still
and
leading the
we
league with goals.
right, still leading the league with goals. He's out of form. We saw where City was struggling when they had him starting, and then they dropped him and they started winning. Right? I don't. I think
Drop. No,
no,
I
no.
wouldn't
They,
say
they, they
drop.
dropped
I
they
think,
dropped him because of injury. He wasn't dropped because of his form.
oh, okay,
His
okay.
form was poor.
Oh,
Form
he
was
had an
poor.
injury.
He had an injury. They dropped
Oh,
him
okay.
and they started winning, and they were like, huh, okay.
Oh, I wouldn't use
And
the word drop. I mean, if you're
okay.
injured, you obviously can't play.
After he was injured and had to be replaced in the starting lineup, Man
Right,
City had
right.
started winning games again.
Yeah, a few wins under their belt for sure.
So in this game,
Rounding into form, it seems.
not having Erling Haaland is probably a positive in this particular game. I don't think it's a negative having him sidelined for this game. But
Right, right.
either way, whether he was fit or not, Man City winning this game, Newcastle is not going to really put up much resistance, to be honest.
I see, I see. All right, well, that said, I mean, the other big game on the menu, Christoph, is the big North London derby. It is Tottenham versus Arsenal, a big derby game, and we often say uh form goes out the window when it comes to these derbies. Of course, this is an away game for Arsenal, Christoph. Can they bounce back with a victory over, you could say, neighbors and rivals, Tottenham Hotspurs? Can they get a win? Can they bounce back from a draw, which feels like a defeat, versus Wolves, and pick up all 3 points to keep Man City at bay for the time being? Because, of course, this game is being played on Sunday. Man City plays today, Christoph. So it could very well be down, as you predict, to 2 points by the time Arsenal start this fixture.
So far from what I've seen, usually when Arsenal play um after the I guess Man City are the title team, so far this season is they have been dropping points. Every time they play after Man City, when Man
Really?
City has been close so far this season, they have
I
dropped
I I
points.
did not see that correlation. You're
Yeah,
telling us something new here.
right.
You're saying Arsenal have dropped points.
Every time they play after Man City.
And
When
how
they
many times have that been?
uh, probably same thing with Liverpool as well. Same thing with Liverpool as when Liverpool was chasing. Um, Arsenal have dropped points, and for Man City so far this season, I think it's happened about four
So are we
times
seeing some
with
sort of
Man City.
psychological connection then, Christoph, where
Could be,
Man City wins, Arsenal loses?
it could be,
Or drop points, as you say, it may result in a draw. Are we
could be.
seeing that be pressure? So, I mean, with potentially this squad going into this North London derby, only leading by 2 points after having a 9 point lead,
Mhm. They
you're
could
are you expecting points to be dropped
they
slash
they
last year?
they could be dropping points in this one, and I have a strong feeling that they might. It's one of those games where Tottenham, for again derby games, regardless of the form, Tottenham
Plus
always
new coach as well.
plus
It
new
could be a
coach.
case of a
So
new coach bounce as well.
new coach Bones plus Derby farm, Arsenal could be
Player
dropping
smelling
points.
blood.
There could be there, yeah, Arsenal could potentially lose this game, and I
Lose this
I
game. Whoa.
I'd probably put that high on my bingo card that Arsenal loses this game.
Wow, wow, that is a big bold call there. I
Uh,
thought you of all person would be backing Arteta as a manager and this Arsenal squad to bounce back. I wasn't anticipating you calling a defeat for Arsenal.
Yeah, for me, this dip in Arsenal form is down to Mikel Arteta. Yeah, Arteta is a really good manager. He's clearly very good at squad building,
So,
but
so what do you put that down to?
it,
What
this
specifically can you pinpoint why
he
you're
is
attributing the dip in form to the manager and not the
he
players themselves?
he's the art. This Wolves game. In my opinion, Arsenal went defensive way too early, trying to show you're 2-0 up. Fine, bottom of the table team. This is the type of game where you should be trying to get goals because you don't know if the title race is going
Three,
to
four,
come down
five
to go
goals.
right. You don't know if
Load
the
up.
race. You don't know if goal difference is going to play a factor. This is the bottom table team. You go two up, you attack and you tell your team get two more.
Right,
Right?
right,
He
right.
decided to go defensive, 60th minute. Why? Why are
Hmm.
you going defensive so
So you're
early?
saying that was a tactically bad move then?
Tactically bad move. That is one. All right, and then there's also the squad rotation.
Well,
We've
that
seen
for sure, that I would agree with you on. The squad rotation have been super poor. And I mean, a couple weeks ago, we spoke about Norgard, Christoph.
right.
Can you believe that after Arteta signed Norgard, a club captain for Brentford, he has only played 32 minutes in the
It
EPL
it it,
all
it
season?
is very wild because every time you have called upon him in cup games, Champions League games, he has played well. He has
This
been
would have been the perfect game to rotate in a Norgard. If
this.
Norgard cannot start against the bottom of the league team, why sign him?
I don't know. The rotation of the players has been so poor. Week in, week out, you play Zubamendi. Fine,
Right?
that is your preferred starting defensive midfielder. You're playing against the bottom of the table team. Norgard has yet to give you a bad performance. Try him
Right.
in an EPL game. Right?
Correct.
Play
This
him in
would
an
have been the
EPL game.
perfect game. If Norgard isn't going to get a game versus Wolves, then who is he going to get a game against?
Apparently,
Does he have to wait until everyone is on crutches
it would
to see the
appear
field?
so. It would appear so. And again, not just that, fine, you
So
didn't start
fatigue,
him.
fatigue,
You
fatigue,
fine, you
fatigue.
did
We
you
saw Zubamendi being totally fatigued in that game. Late tackles, not tracking back.
but
Clear
that,
signs of fatigue.
that's what I don't get. If you see Zubamendi doing all these things, you sub him off. Right? So Norgard is not only not getting any EPL minutes, he's not even getting subs on in the game. You make a sub 65th minute, you take off Gyökeres. Why?
But it
Every
seemed
time you
like
sub
Arteta has
Gyökeres,
a pre-prepared
every time you sub Gyo-
substitution list.
every time you
You
sub
can expect
Gyökeres, you
subs
concede
around
a goal.
60 minutes.
Stop that. 65th minute, you should have sub Zubamendi and bring on Norgard. Right? If you can't bring on Norgard to see out the game, like you said, a Premier League
Why
captain,
sign him? Why sign him?
I don't
You,
understand.
to me, it's something I've seen from last season. Arteta, for the likes of me, I don't know, but Arteta just seemed not to trust his players. He doesn't seem to trust his squad,
He does
where
not.
he's super reluctant to rotate players, give players a rest, bring in a player fresh, freshen up the team, etc. He seemed very, very reluctant to do these things. And as you say, it potentially could bite you in the end. But such are these things. But back to this game, though, Christoph. Back to this game. Let's turn a little attention over to the Spurs side. Spurs struggling to stay in the league, potentially being drawn into a relegation battle, Christoph. They fired their coach, Thomas Frank. New coach has taken over. What can we expect from this Spurs team? If they were indeed to beat Arsenal, as you're predicting, who are the likely persons to come up with the goods?
Who is the new coach?
The new coach. No,
Yeah,
that's an interesting question. I am not sure who is taking over. I don't know if it's a permanent appointment or it's to see out the rest of the season. I'm not sure who he is or his claim to fame. It's not any big name coach I would have heard of before or potentially have plied his trade in the EPL as yet. This might very well be his first stint in the EPL. I am not sure. You might have to do some research on that and get back to us on it. But regardless of who it is, we notice, and I mean, it's statistically proven that once a new coach comes in and take over, Christoph, there almost seem to be an inevitable lift in the performance of the team. I don't know if players get super enthused, they want to impress the new manager, I don't know, a kick of adrenaline. Something happens once a new coach takes over in the EPL, it seems. And we oftentimes classify that as the new coach bounce. You know, you may get a bounce for 2, 3, 4 games, and the team suddenly picks up a little form until they eventually balance back out. And
Oh.
this could be the same thing that Spurs could potentially bring
He
to the
was the
fore.
he was the Juventus manager last season,
Oh, so what's
or
his
at
name?
least half of last season. Igor Tudor.
Igor Tudor. Okay, so he previously managed in the Italian league before then, Christoph.
Right, so he has managed a number of clubs. Croatia as assistant manager. A club here I can't pronounce. A Greek club. PAOK. A Turkish team. Galatasaray.
So he's
U
well traveled. Big teams like
Udinese.
Galatasaray, Juventus,
On two
Udinese.
occasions, he was previously a Juventus
So
assistant
based on his
manager.
resume, then Christoph, we can conclude that this is a manager with some quality. Then
He is a definitely a journeyman manager, so to speak, given the number of clubs, but the stints seem to be very short.
So this may be another stopgap situation for him. Then comes in, boost the team, keep them in the Premier League, and then maybe a permanent appointment be made
Yeah,
in the summer.
well, yeah, that's what it says. Agreed to be head coach of Tottenham until the end of the season, following the
Right,
sacking
right,
of
right,
Thomas Frank.
right. So interesting times ahead then. So
But he
Spurs
is a
should enter this game rather unpredictable than Christoph.
he is a very attacking coach, from what I can read, and
Mm.
plays a very aggressive style.
So potentially the Arsenal defense may shake again come this match day.
Right? Potentially. But
So so we
I
we
feel
should
like
definitely be looking out for when Gokieres is subbed.
yeah, just look.
And
If Gyökeres starts the game, as soon as he gets up, you can wait 5 minutes before a goal is conceded. Five
wow,
minutes.
wow, 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 wow. That's
Every
an
time,
interesting call there.
every time they sub Gyökeres, they concede a goal. And
Wow,
if I saw it since October, they must
right?
have seen it by now.
So as well as defensively, Christoph, I think Arsenal is now poorer defensively than when they started the season, the first half of the season.
Yeah, but that was the
They
case,
were rock
same as
solid in the first half of the season, but
that was it.
subsequently,
That was the same as last season.
mm, what do you attribute that to, though?
I attribute it to the poor attacking going forward. If they were creating chances and scoring goals up top, then less like they're less likely to concede goals. If you are killing off a team 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, they're going to be less reluctant to attack.
And we see Arsenal still getting a lot of goals from set plays and not many from open play.
Arsenal, a large percentage of Arsenal goals is not set pieces like a lot of people. There is a team who have a higher percentage of set piece goals than Arsenal in the league.
Oh, which team do you speak of?
I don't remember right now. I was looking it up earlier. There
Mm.
is a team 40% of their goals were set pieces. I don't remember
Oh, but
who right now.
Arsenal might be a close second, though.
Arsenal is actually third.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, I mean, you need to present us with these facts. So which two teams are ahead of Arsenal?
Um, if we count penalties, which we
No, man,
probably
we're
should,
we're counting we're counting
corners.
free kicks and
No, no.
corners.
Oh, okay. So if we counted penalties, Chelsea would be up there. But
No,
since
man,
it's
we're not
it's
counting penalties. We're counting free kicks and corners.
I don't remember who it is right now. But
All right.
Arsenal is
So
actually not
that's
the number
something
one.
definitely for you to research for us then.
Arsenal is not the number one in terms of set piece
All right. So we are gonna keep
goals.
Arsenal as number one until you present us with some alternative facts.
Right, I will provide you with that
All
information.
right, for sure, for sure. But so final prediction for this one, Christoph. You're saying Arsenal to lose this one, but by how many goals? What's your final prediction for this one?
It might just be a 2-1 loss. I
A
think.
2-1 loss. Big derby game, heated game, 2-1 loss. New coach bounce for Spurs.
Yeah, potential.
Ah,
Somebody will get a red card as well, and
one
given
tough
the
one.
referees and
I'm gonna
Arsenal,
go with a draw. I'm gonna go with a draw. I'm gonna go with a draw. As you say,
I
I
don't
think
know
the
if it's a
pressure.
draw.
I'm gonna personally call a draw for this one. I think If Man City wins, the lead drops to 2. This will enter the psychology of the players, and I feel they
I
will tighten up, especially if Spurs can get the go-ahead goal. If Spurs score first, I don't see Arsenal winning.
I
But
I I I think Arteta could potentially win this game if he makes the right choices in his team selection. But given
so
that
who are
he's
the right choices?
well, first of all, you need to bring back in Ben White as a starter,
Ben White as a starter
right? For
at
the
this late stage. I
right.
even saw experimentation with Saka playing the number 10 role versus Wolves, Christoph. What kind of decision was that?
So I think that was a decision made because midweek when they played against Wigan, an injury forced them to make a change. It was an injury to Calafiore in the build up to the game. Miles Lewis Skelly was supposed to play in midfield, so they decided to drop him into left back and then bring on Saka to replace Calafiori. And I guess they experimented with it. He liked what he saw against Wigan. I personally wasn't really impressed. It's Wigan, right? A
Right,
team
right.
that is
The quality, you have to
22,
factor in the
right?
quality of the opponent.
Right. Clearly, they weren't factoring in the quality when they said, "Oh, this looks good."
Well, I
In my
mean,
opinion,
Saka did get that early goal, but subsequently after,
he scored that early goal, but subsequently throughout the game, I wasn't particularly impressed by the play.
mm, Eze should have gotten the start then.
Yeah, as should have gotten the start in that game.
That's why you
Uh,
bought him.
I
That's
don't
what I'm saying. Arteta
I
doesn't trust his
I
players.
I don't think it's just don't trust the players. Arteta probably puts um.
Christoph, come on. If Eze cannot
Oh,
start against the
no. I'm saying
20th club
yes.
in the league,
That is part
then
of
who
it.
is he going to start
That
against?
that is part of it. But I think Arteta is just for whatever reason he's just insistent on playing safe,
Safe isn't going to win the
and
league, man.
that is the
Safe.
problem. Somebody like Saka is a safe choice.
Why are you playing
Odegaard
safe
is a
versus
safe choice.
Wolves?
Declan Rice is a safe choice. So I think that is it. And Eze is going to be more.
Risky.
Risky. He's going to lose possession more than a Saka, right? So I think that is
But
what
if Eze cannot start against Wolves, who is the bottom of the league team, probably one of the worst teams in terms of points tally in EPL history. If you can't start against such a team, then who are you going to start against? Why buy these players if you can't trust them versus the worst team in the league? It makes no sense. It makes
I
no
don't
sense. But
know
we
his
move,
name, but
Christoph. We won't be dwelling on this whole
uh
podcast. We move.
uh
Final
uh
prediction. You're saying
starting
2-1,
lineup 2-1 to Tottenham.
2-1 to Tottenham. And you're saying what is the correct starting lineup that Arteta should select for this game?
Yeah, he can make some changes and he would probably get the farm to bounce back. Start Ben White.
Start Ben White. So
All
that's a
right.
big call right away.
Start
Maybe
Ben
I
White.
think that call is too risky for Arteta, Christoph.
No, maybe, but start Ben White. You know why? Because Ben White offers you something different. He's not going to come inside like a Timber. He's going to go wide and pull a defender out
Oh, so
there
you're
and
saying
allow
start White over Timber.
right at the moment and allow
Okay.
your more attacking player to come inside.
Oh, it's a
So
different
far,
dynamic when Ben White plays versus Timber.
right, and Ben White also makes crosses into the box. He is on his right foot. He doesn't have to cut it back on his left foot to try and cross. He can
Okay.
cross on the right.
So that's the first tactical and selection move.
That is the
Start Ben
first
White.
selection. Ben White must start.
Okay.
Right? Start either start Norgard and replace Zubamendi with him, or you start Norgard with Declan Rice if you don't fully trust him. So you tell Declan Rice to play a more
Oh,
somewhat
so a
reserved
double pivot, the
right.
defensive
It,
midfield.
right, because Zubamendi is tired.
Right?
He's tired
Okay. So
and
no
he's not
guard for Zubamendi.
right, and he is not as physical a presence as
No
Norgard
guard.
or as Rice. So now
Okay.
you have two robust midfielders. Then you pick your attacking midfielder. In this case, pick Eze. He now has the freedom to play because he has two defensive midfielders
Section
behind him
behind him.
protect him.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So Norgard and Eze. But this seem to be a lot of changes. I don't think Arteta will be making so many changes, Christoph.
Two changes. That's it.
No,
Two
three
changes.
changes.
Which three?
Ben
Ben
White,
White and Norgard.
Norgard,
That's two
and Eze.
changes.
and Eze.
No, no, but Odegaard is
Eze
injured.
isn't a regular starter. Eze.
Odegaard is injured, so it's not a
Right, but
change.
he still doesn't trust Eze. It was
It's not
Saka
a
who played
change.
the 10 role versus Wolves. Eze was fit and ready to play. Eze came out as a sub, and he still did not get the start versus Wolves. So it wouldn't surprise me again if we see Saka popping up as a number 10 because he just doesn't trust Eze, it seems. So those are the three changes, though, Christoph.
That
Eze
is it.
in, and then the rest remain the same. So Gokira is up front, Martinelli on the left, or Trossard.
Start Trossard. Save
Trossard.
save Martinelli for the second half when defenses are tired.
Okay, and Saka picks up his regular position on the right
Start Saka
after signing the big mega contract.
after signing the big mega contract. Start Saka.
So, can we expect a similar decline from Saka as we've seen in the past, Christoph?
With
The
who?
likes of a Salah decline, the likes of a Rashford
With
decline after
Saka.
signing big mega contracts.
Saka is still well. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say we don't know. We haven't seen it from Saka yet, so we can't say. We've seen it
Uh,
with Salah. We've seen it
well, I
with
saw him
Rashford.
celebrating with the signing of contract
Yeah, I saw it too.
celebration.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Interesting times ahead. But for sure, you're saying, for the record, Arsenal to lose this one versus Spurs, Christoph.
Arsenal to lose this one unless Arteta makes the right changes,
Which are the changes you've suggested?
which is are the changes I've suggested.
Interesting times ahead. Definitely all eyes will be on that game, Christoph. All eyes will be on that game. But some other interesting games are also on display. We just touched on a couple of them. Aston Villa versus Leeds. Aston Villa at home versus Leeds. Aston Villa currently occupies third,
Aston
and they
Villa
could
2
potentially
nil.
factor into the title race. So you're saying 2-0 to Aston
Aston
Villa
Villa 2
there.
nil.
So Aston Villa to bounce back 2-0. We also see Forest taking on Liverpool, Krista. Forest at home versus Liverpool. That game coming up on Sunday. Of course, Forest played to the Fenerbahce in the Europa League on Thursday, and then they will play that EPL game on Sunday. So they should be traveling from Turkey back to the UK. What can we expect in that one?
Um, so that could be a factor in the performance, and potentially them dropping points coming back, tired. So I will lean towards Liverpool winning, that game 2 or 3-1.
And of course, remember Turkey. Sorry, not Turkey. But remember, Forest also has a new coach, Pereira, former coach of Wolves, before he saved Wolves from relegation last season and then was subsequently sacked. He has now taken over the coaching role at Forest, and he did pick up a victory, as I mentioned, Europa League versus Fenerbahce. Forest running away 3-0 winners. So that too might be a factor into this equation. So, I mean, we've seen it with Liverpool that these games this season are not these straightforward wins as one would expect. So,
No, if Forest had not played any game midweek, I would have potentially made it a more difficult call for Liverpool. But ever since Salah has returned, Liverpool's form has been an upturn. Not necessarily saying there's a correlation with Saka, but with
oh, you're
Salah's
saying
return. But
a
since
correlation doesn't mean causation.
yeah, correlation is not always causation.
Mm,
But the farm has gone up a bit. But we know Soberslai is out injured, so
right.
not
Well,
injured, red
he's out
carded,
red
red carded,
carded,
red
right?
carded. So that could
Yes.
be a factor
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
because
Solskjaer has come up
Soberslai
with a
have
number
been
of game
Liverpool's
winners,
Liverpool's
and his
best player by
delivery
a
from
mile.
set plays as well could factor into the equation. But you're saying Liverpool to win nevertheless. Having
I
said all of that,
I
Liverpool
think
should win.
Liverpool should win just because of them Nottingham
And
Forest probably being tired from midweek.
so what's the predicted scoreline you're calling?
3-1 to Liverpool.
3-1 to Liverpool. 3-1 to Liverpool. I I'm gonna reserve my call for that game, to be honest. Then the other game which sparked my attention, Christoph, is Everton versus Manchester United. That game coming up on Monday, and that one being played at the new home of Everton. Everton versus Manchester United. Recall that Everton did get the better of Manchester United in the reverse fixture when Everton, I believe, had gone down to 10 men. So they had picked up a result versus United. What can we expect from this game? Quickly, will Carey continue his awesome return to the Manchester United dugout?
Well, if you say Manchester United is back, then you would expect them to win this game. And I think potentially on paper they're probably the better team and they have the momentum with them. So United should win this game. Everton is coming into this game off the back of a loss. United a draw. But I put the momentum with United. So United to win 2-0.
United to win 2-0. And on that note, Christoph, we're quickly running out of time. Any final thoughts as it relates to this weekend of football coming up? Of course, every eye, Christoph, especially if Man City wins on Saturday, every eye will be on that North London derby. Probably this is one of the biggest North London derby we will see for a while. What's your final thoughts as it relates to this weekend of EPL action coming up?
I mean, it's a weekend where you could say the title race has heated up, and potentially for Arsenal, a loss to Tottenham could be catastrophic. You don't want that momentum going down, especially when you're going into a final next month against your title rival Man City, because that game again, you lose that final, then you go and you play them in the league a couple weeks later, you lose again, the title is gone.
Interesting, interesting calls there from Christoph as per usual. Giving it to you straightforward and plain, viewers and subscribers. But thanks again, Christoph, for coming on board, sharing your thoughts, and of course, your opinions. Viewers, subscribers, thank you for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to support us by, of course, leaving a like. Leave your prediction in the comment section. Who will win the North London Derby? Who indeed will win the EPL title? Leave a like if you haven't subscribed as yet. Hit that subscription bell, and of course, continue to share the podcast so we may indeed grow and spread our wings. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.